All right. Kelly, why don't you introduce yourself? Then we'll go to Rachel and Linda, and we'll go from there. But
Sure. Good morning, everybody.
Quick introduction.
Sure. It's Kelly Catalinas. I'm branch manager with Fairway Independent Mortgage, and welcome today. I'll let everybody go ahead and get started.
All right, Rachel.
Good morning. I'm Rachel Rajala with Remax Allegiance out of the Northern Virginia McLean area. And yeah, I'm excited to do this neighborhood. I've been working on some neighborhood kind of domination things already and have some videos and things in place. So I'm excited to integrate them with what you guys are doing.
Perfect. And yeah, we're gonna talk today about sort of what people are doing, what they want to be doing, the reasons to be doing this, or reasons to be doing any sort of, let's just call it geographic farming, local marketing type thing, and then what the possibilities are. Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda Wheeler, and I am in the Keller Williams Falls Church office. I am an original native of Northern Virginia and want to dominate more of my Pemmon Hills neighborhood as well as the Falls Church, McLean, Vienna type area. So.
I love that y'all are saying dominate, because I love talking about neighborhood domination, but then I worry a little bit that I'm being too warlike with that. I'm very happy. Keep saying it. So yeah, because really, like, I'll say things like farm famous, which is, I don't know if that's a term I coined, but I've been using it for a long time. So I either coined it or stole it. But the concept of, we can do a lot of damage in a good way, right? You can do a lot of good things with your business by being famous just in your farm. We don't need to be Brad Pitt famous. We don't need to be, Donald Trump famous. We can be really famous in our farm, and a lot of good things happen. And I'm going to talk very briefly about when what are we talking about? Local marketing, neighborhood domination, farm famous. For the most part, it looks like we have realtors on the call, though I see Patrick on the call. So Patrick, you and Dave, introduce yourselves. Or Patrick first.
Hey there, I am Patrick Faust. I am with Pillar to Post Home Inspectors based in Arlington. We service all of Northern Virginia. Our job is to make sure your clients feel comfortable with the house they're buying and truly understand how the house works. It just adds a level of comfort to the transaction for them, as well as detecting any major defects in the home.
Perfect. Awesome. Dave, can you just introduce yourself and sort of tell where you are?
Yeah, Dave Adams. My wife and I work for Caldwell Banker, and we're out of the Reston office, and we enjoy working with you guys.
Thanks a lot. Sarita, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, my name is Sarita Folks. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and I work with a company called Longevity, and it's all about using holistic, natural nutrition to help people get well.
Perfect. I don't know, Julie, can you introduce yourself, and then we'll go with Jael?
Hi, hello, I'm Julie Clifford. I'm with Compass out of McLean office, and I want to say hi to Linda Wheeler. It's been a long time since I've seen her.
Perfect. Jael, can you introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Jael Thomas. I'm with Urban Realty. I service DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
All right, perfect. We'll get started, and then we'll also do another round for people that have joined in from here. For some of you, many of you have interacted with. My name's Fraser O'Leary, by the way, and I'm Kelly's production manager or production partner, sorry, with Fairway Mortgage. I also run Kid Biz, which sometimes you guys see with regards to youth entrepreneurship. And over the past, 9 months, Kelly and I and some of the people on this call have done a lot of, call it some measure of community networking and marketing with the schools. And we're growing out this communities and neighborhood marketing with regards to the youth entrepreneurship piece, which I'll talk a little bit about and I'll show a little bit about. But we wanted to go back to first principles here. I feel like we do a regular call on Friday about our business boosters that was focused on the schools and is now focused on the neighborhoods now that the schools are going out for summer. But, you know, generally, some people are sold on the idea of local marketing, right? Neighborhood domination. I'm going to have Linda use Linda's term and Rachel's term. And this idea of becoming that go-to business in a specific neighborhood or community. Let me just mute people here. But what I wanted to talk about is the case for that and some ideas. You know, some of these ideas are specific to what we're doing with regards to the neighborhood marketing, and some of them are have nothing to do with what we're doing. But I also wanted to just open up that conversation so that the people who are interested in local marketing, neighborhood domination, farm famous, can share ideas and strategies. And I'm going to put people into two categories. We have real estate agents, and then we have other types of businesses. And for people like Patrick, maybe people like Sarita, I'm not sure if Sarita, if you focus on real estate agents or if you focus on just direct to consumer, but what we're really talking about, what I sort of see, because Kelly and I are lenders, we see part of our business strategy as helping real estate agents succeed and connecting with more real estate agents, and then leveraging and partnering with real estate agents in these different communities to attract business. So I know with Patrick, with home inspections, you know, you get your business referrals from real estate agents for the most part. But if you're a different type of business, we're really just talking about how to leverage the relationships and these strategies to grow your business. So let me just introduce a concept here. This is the how to, are you guys seeing my PowerPoint? All right, great. So when I talk about how to become farm famous to grow your business, I distill this down into 3 steps with regards to your farms. And a lot of people, when they talk about farming, they're like, oh, my farm is Northern Virginia. That ain't a farm, okay? That's a vast, expansive prairie. You can't get famous without spending a huge amount of money in an area that big. But what's great is that you can get famous in a smaller area, a farm area. And so the 3-step process that I'm going to encourage us to think about is to define your farm, to justify your farm, and then to explore your farm or your target area, your neighborhood, what have you. Defining your farm is, what's it called? Dave Adams has Penderbrook, right? It's in the Oakton community. He has Penderbrook, and he's like, this is what it's called. This is how big it is. This is the number of homes. If I wanted to do a mailing or do a canvassing, I would have to go to this number of homes. What are the boundaries? If you don't know your farm, then you can't farm it as effectively as you can if you know your farm, right? Linda, I think you said Pimmit Hills, right? Like that's a neighborhood in Falls Church, right?
Yes.
I know Sherry's on the call, and Sherry is focused on Pimmit Hills too. Like that's a farm area, right? So that's important. Now, that's the defining, and that should be relatively easy practically to do. A lot of people get intellectually screwed up doing it because they don't want to limit themselves. Kelly and I were talking about this yesterday. They're like, oh, I don't want to be pigeonholed because I can go all over, right? I can work with anybody anywhere. Of course you can, right? You're going to get referrals from everywhere. You're going to get connected through social media from everywhere. We're talking about having a farm that you can work on every day and have it, like any good farm, produce fruit for you. So the second step of this is justify the focus and effort that you're putting into your farm. So I don't know if these numbers are right. You guys know your farms and you know the transactions much better than I do. But just practically, if you have a farm area of 1,000 homes and the house sells, you know, people say they sell once every 7 years or whatever, that's 144 homes per year. It's 12 homes per month. At $400,000 homes, that's $12,000 per home. That's 1.7, 0.28 or whatever of total one side commissions. let's say that your goal is to get 10% of the houses that occur in your farm area, this 1,000 home neighborhood, right? Or two neighborhoods combined together, that you want to make sure that you get 10% of the transactions from that farm. I don't know if that's crazy or not, but it's certainly a number. Well, that's $170,000 in commissions. Is that worth farming? Seems to me as if it is. I mean, I'm not a real estate agent. You know, we get compensated differently, but it seems like it is worth the effort. Plus, what you're doing when you're focusing on your farm area is you're building out a network that you can connect with all the time, which then leads to referrals that might be in completely other parts of Northern Virginia or DC or Maryland. And it allows you to grow a business network that can lead to referrals, et cetera. Now that's just for real estate agents, right? Like Sarita, your ability to do that, you growing that business or growing that farm can lead to direct business for you. So the key here, and I may be preaching to the choir, but the key here is, even though it's only 1,000 homes, even though it's only a 500-person neighborhood, there's an old tale called Acres of Diamonds, right? Where a person who owns a farm leaves his farm to go search for diamonds. And it turns out that he had diamonds on his farm. They just look different than diamonds usually do. And there's money, there's business in this area, in any neighborhood in Northern Virginia that you want to focus on, if you're willing to farm it, right? So that's sort of I just wanted to say that don't let the idea that it's too small or fear of scarcity or whatever undermine you from actually farming your neighborhood. I see some things on the chat. Okay. Okay, sorry. I got distracted.
With an S.
So the third thing is, and this is where we're really getting into action here, is to explore the farm, right? So let's just talk a look, like if we're talking Julie Clifford, and Julie Clifford has, if Julie Clifford has focused on Ballston, Virginia Square, she's defined her neighborhood, she has justified it, like she knows that there's money in them Dar Hills, there's business there. Then the question is, well, do you know enough about the neighborhood to actually farm it, right? You would hope a farmer would know their farm. So, and I put this into two categories, though there's probably a lot more. And this leads to directly to action, is who in your farm do you want to know, like, and trust you, right? Who needs to know about you? Julie has already gone through the interview process for the neighborhood boosters, where she said, like, here are the people that I want to know who I am. And then here are the places where it would be awesome for me to be visible. Well, that's the starting point for us taking specific action, is who and where and what in the farm area. And that's those are the three steps that I wanted to just sort of present, because I think everything that we do in terms of this kind of mastermind or whatever it is, coaching, mastermind, accountability, comes down to what are the actions that we can take to get more visibility in your neighborhood, more visibility with the people in your community, et cetera. But you have to do steps 1 and 2, or else you won't put the effort into steps, the step 3, which is the exploration. So I'm just going to present here another slide, which is some things that you could do today. If you've defined your farm, and if you have justified to yourself that you want to focus on it, then there are things you can do today, with or without the stuff that we're doing with the Neighborhood Booster program, that you can do today to get more penetration, right? And I think then we'll just open it up and share some ideas. Let me share this list, and then we can talk about it. Number one thing I would say is to make your who's who list. These are all the people that are in your neighborhood and or community, right? your neighborhood is part of a larger community. Penderbrook is part of Oakton, right? So there are elected officials, there are principals, there are people that run the library, there's the manager of the pool in the park, there's the friends of the dog park, there are the civic association presidents, there's the PTA officers, there are the owners of each of the different shops. If you think of that whole thing as a puzzle piece, and all you need to do to put a piece in that puzzle is to identify the person and then reach out to them. Most people, I said this to Kelly yesterday, most people don't meet the who's who in their community, not because it's hard to, right? It's the easiest thing in the world is to find out the 50 people that run your community, that run things, businesses, community events, etc. People don't have anything to say. You can only say, oh, by the way, please let me know if you want to buy or sell real estate so many times. So you have to have something interesting to say that's beyond just your elevator pitch, or else people will tune you out, right? The other piece of that is there are lots of tools for getting visibility with neighbors in a community, right? Not the least of which is Nextdoor or Facebook. But if you don't have anything to say, you can't post regularly. So you have to have something to say, and that's part of what we try to do with our neighborhood boosters. But the first thing is to make your who's who list. This is your dream list. This is your punch list. This is your who do I want to connect with, right? Then that's your who's who. Then the second thing is, where would you like to post? If everybody here had a flyer with your business information on it, and let's say that you had a blank check, anybody who you asked to post a flyer would post it. Do you know where you would like to post, either online or in person? This is where are the people in your community, where are their eyeballs going so that you can get in front of them? One of the places that I really like, and this is a killer strategy, I think, for any of us, is to just walk your neighborhood and introduce yourself. Well, I say introduce yourself. Let me rephrase it. Go to the shops in your neighborhood and get their business cards from whoever's running that shop, right? The manager or whatever. If it's a chain, it's the manager. If it's a local shop, it's the owner. So that you can add them to your who's who, right? Now you've got this network of people who maybe they're really active in the community, maybe they're not. But this is the place that people go in and out of, either in person or online. And then that's the in-person component. But then we all know that there are Facebook pages or, maybe Nextdoor, but certainly like Facebook pages where your neighbors go visit and they interact with them. Find out who runs that page and add them to your who's who. Because we can, as part of Neighborhood Boosters, you can introduce yourself to them in a meaningful way to help you become farm famous, right? So then the other things are very, very next step. Once you've done your who's who, once you've identified the places, then it's things like we have a flyer, right, that you can customize and share and give to the shops or the library or the restaurants and ask them to put it up in their shop. Well, they're going to do that not because they love you. They're going to do that because it's helping to grow the community or it's supporting the youth entrepreneurship. And if it's not that, if you're not into what we're doing, it could be a community event that you want to host or a charity that you want to support. And now you're going into the neighborhood, or I'm sorry, you're going into the shop and you're saying, would you post this flyer, right? We have some strategies to help make it easier on you, but it's the same concept. It's you becoming one of the who's who in a community that's a doer or a coordinator.
And I wanted just to
Yeah.
jump in here because when we say post the flyer, we're not saying post the flyer about yourself as, the neighborhood realtor. It's about a community event that you might be sponsoring or that you want to promote or you want to boost. It's basically you're the connector in that community,
Yeah.
that there would be no reason why they would say no to posting it. So when we think about the flyer, we think about it from the standpoint of how does it benefit the community? that they would feel badly if they didn't post it. You know what I mean? But it
Absolutely.
still has the QR code to your page, your face, your community as that first person kind of face they see if they go to that community. So I think that's kind of an easy ask when going around, when ultimately you look at your community, you look at the events in your community. If you're the one going into those establishments and saying, hey, we've got a flyer, we want to post these upcoming events, you know, and it has a QR code, but it takes whomever goes to that QR code to check out that calendar to see your face over and over and over and over and over again as one of the connectors in that community.
And think about it like this, guys. Your number, when you go into a shop, Mark's not on the call, but well, I'll use Julie as an example. So Julie, let's say Julie's walking up and down some of the shops at Ballston, Virginia Square. And she's grabbing the business cards, and let's say she's even talking to people, but she has a stack of flyers. And she's like, would you post this up on your, would you post this in your door or on your bulletin board or whatever? It's going to be 60% or higher that says yes. Don't delude yourself into thinking that you're like going to get a lot of no's. You're not. You're going to get a lot of yeses. You get a lot of no's if you were asking, could you post an open house flyer? Yeah, you would get a lot of no's, but that's not how you're approaching it. All of this is, I hate to call it a Trojan horse because we're doing good, but you're able to get into things that you wouldn't otherwise get in because you're positioning yourself as a community builder. It's not a lie. You are a community builder. You are supporting good things. It's just that you have to embrace that people are going to interact with you differently than just you being a realtor or just being a business owner, because you're coming at it differently. You're actually a leader now. Okay.
Well, and I think
they
it's
already be
important.
doing that, but this is different.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say, like, if you're going into those particular businesses, there's what's in it for them, right? You're looking at it from the standpoint of they want to also be a community connector. It's not necessarily from the standpoint of what's in it for you.
Yep.
What's in it for them too is more traction to their stores, their businesses. Like every month, I'm going to stop by here with a new flyer for you about the next events coming up the following month. We'd love for you to promote it because it really then shows you in a good light, and you can add them to the site and show them if they're worried about it. We consider you a community pillar.
Yeah.
We've put it on there. We're trying to drive business back to you. So we do always want to look at this about reciprocity in terms of building your fame and incorporating their fame in the same way.
Kelly says this every time Kelly and I talk about anything. Kelly says, she leads with, we want to make sure we're adding value. We want to make sure we're bringing value. Okay. Since I've been at Fairway, that's every conversation we have about, working with real estate agents. It's how can we bring value to them in terms of their marketing or their businesses. And whether you're doing what we're talking about here with regards to the youth entrepreneurship and community building piece, or whether you're doing something completely different, but you still want to, become farm famous, you still want to dominate your neighborhood, the theory is the same. It's what are you bringing to this group of people or to the neighborhood that's making, for businesses, that's giving them more visibility. For neighbors, it's giving them more value. It's not going to be, frankly, it's not going to have anything to do with real estate. I mean, you could still do a home buyer workshop or focus on open houses, but it's going to be bigger than that. If you want to become famous in the neighborhood and you want to be able to leverage this network of people, the who's who and the shops and all that stuff and the social media, then you've got to have something that you're talking about that, like Kelly is saying, where the business is excited to see you because you're going to, I'll just share something. I sent out to our neighborhood boosters yesterday, this newsletter. Oh, that's very disappointing. Hold on, did I not upload it? Makes me sad. Okay, we have this ability for you to create a newsletter, a community newsletter. Well, you can post that newsletter every week. It changes every week, right? Because it has different calendar events, and it has the dogs of Stratford Landing, and it has the new kids stuff, but it also has the ability to showcase whatever business you want, right? Do I want to, or do I want to showcase Kelly, or do I want to showcase Jeffrey Schroeder? These are the people that you're going to showcase on the social media post or on the newsletter are going to be the businesses that you meet when you're walking around. They're going to be the PTA. They're going to be the churches. They're going to be the sports leagues. So that's the whole point of this. You are showing up, with this arsenal of weapons where you're able to help the businesses get more exposure, and everybody wants somebody to help them get more exposure, just like you do, everybody else does. So that's the thing to think about. And if you don't understand what the heck I'm talking about in terms of what page you're on or the social media or anything like that, definitely reach out to me, or just watch what the other neighborhood boosters are doing. Watch what Eva Swarcy is doing in Vienna. Watch what Julie is doing in Ballston. Watch what Sherry Foster is doing in Pimmet Hills, so that you can see how they're identifying their who's who, and they're posting every day. I mean, I think you should be posting every day on Nextdoor and Facebook. And the thing I'm guessing, the thing that scares you about doing that is not the 30 seconds that it takes to actually make a post on Nextdoor or on Facebook. The thing that scares you is, what am I going to say? I don't have anything to say. You never will run out of things to say with this, because you have, these are like, you just click on it and grab something and add it to the site, and it's all customized for you. You can even do, I don't know if this is, I added this feeling lucky button so that you don't even have to think. Just click on the button and it'll give you something to post. But again, that's if you're doing what we're doing. If you're doing something else and you're a big fan of animal shelters or Outward Bound or whatever, you can build a whole local marketing initiative around that and sprinkle in the real estate. All right, I've shockingly enough, I still have talked the entire time, but let's shift gears and talk about, does anybody have things that they are doing or that they want to be doing that they want to kind of circulate? This is focused on, I would say, a maximum of 1,000 homes, whether that's one neighborhood or whether that is two combined neighborhoods. When I'm saying farming, I'm talking about that. So people have things to share or ask. If you have no idea, if this is the first time you've been here and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I did get your chat, Carmela. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's completely fine. I will follow up with you. But you do know that you like the idea of farming. So what we want to do is have a regular place where we can share what's working or share strategies. We've given you a lot of stuff to think about, but this is the first one of these that we've done too. So anybody who is thinking about doing something or wants to try something out?
This was super helpful. I actually got stuck with doing mailers, but I am going to bring that back, but have more of a targeted area. But also it made me think about my first job. I was at a dry cleaners. That's the pillar of my community. And I'm going to go there, and I have a huge social media presence, and just offer them some exposure and let them know what I'm doing.
Jael, where are you located? What would be your farm?
Alexandria, Virginia. I've been here all my life, and I haven't got any listings here yet. So super, super motivated to get that done.
Okay, so definitely follow up with me, because I would love to, if you go to the site, I don't know if it was on the link. I don't know if you came through LinkedIn or Facebook or through my email invite, but if you, you can go onto the site and look at the different communities.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna put the site in the chat here.
Thank
And
you.
you can identify if there's a specific neighborhood that you're like in love with and you'd want to focus on, then we can help you with that that page. But it's a great point. And again, like I'm talking about it from the perspective of what we're doing, and the reason is because anything that y'all are doing or should be doing, we're also thinking about, right? Kelly and I are thinking about it for us as lenders, but also all the agents that we partner with. So we're thinking like this newsletter thing that I didn't show you. I'll send people a video if they're interested in it. But we're like, if we could just press a button and have a local community newsletter that we can edit, go out to whoever we want, then all of a sudden it doesn't feel hard to do that once a week, right? If every day when I open up my computer, it says, post this thing on Nextdoor, post this thing on Facebook, then, you know, it's not that hard to post. It's just that it's trying to feed the beast with what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And your dry cleaners example is a good one. If every day you said, I want to meet a new business, have them add themselves to your site, right? Again, I'll think about it like you're going to use the site that we're showing, but add themselves to your site, then that means every day you have a new thing to share. Introduce the dry cleaner, introduce the restaurant, introduce the whatever. And it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to go make huge videos with every person that you meet. I mean, I think that's great to do it, but you can make a huge splash by saying, I, Jael, am the community connector for Old Town Alexandria, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, you could create a whole segment where you're like walking with Jael. And like this week, Jael's walking to the dry cleaners. Next week, she's walking, you know, to the park, or, you know, like you could create your own segment, but so you don't have to think about the next thing you're doing. You just know you have to get it done, etc.
Kelly, that's gold. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know Christy was trying.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Christy.
Hi. So yes, I have, I think 4 or 5 agents I got on today's call. So I know Linda, of course, JL, my rock star there. So there's also 2, and then JL she's growing her team. And so Kira was supposed to be on, I don't know if she got on or not. And then they're all highly interested. Linda Wheeler is more in the Pemmon Hills area. And then Chris Madison, I believe he's the Falls Church area as well. So definitely, I mean, I had a couple that could not make it today. So thank you for those of you that could. And that I think this is a great idea, Fraser, and so easy to apply. And we just have to do it. So I'm here to support.
I'm here to support too. Yeah.
And then let's just rock this summer and get you guys out there and do some events, really fun stuff. We could do popsicles by the pool or whatever, you know what I mean? So
let me say to Christy, first off, Christy, thank you very much. I was just telling Kelly yesterday, I was like, yeah, Christy sent me this email, said, you know, here, I'm going to invite 14 agents, which is exactly what somebody like Christy or Patrick who work with agents who want their agents to be more successful, right? I mean, y'all want to help your agents get more business beyond just you getting more of your agent's business. You want to help them get business. This is very, very, it makes a lot of sense for you to look at your agents, just like with us as lenders, and think, who could benefit from opening up a wing in their marketing department, right? What they can be focusing on neighborhood marketing. So definitely think about that. All of you who work with agents, whether you are an agent or whether you're a person like Christy with Universal Title, business development in Falls Church, or Patrick with Pillar to Post. To your point about events, I'll give you the easiest event you've ever done. Okay. It's always a great idea to do community events, but to be honest with you, don't get overwhelmed by trying to plan a huge community event. There are people in your community who are doing community events who would be so grateful for you to just help amplify their event, right? You don't need to be competing with I mean, I know that the person who's doing the shred event, or the person who's doing the community barbecue, or the person who's doing the movie on the green, or even the government people who are doing like music festivals and stuff like that. You can basically borrow their event and amplify it, and it makes you the community connector anyway. But that's not what I was saying in terms of the easiest event. So if you're, let's say, Jael, you're doing, you want to do Alexandria. If we, and I don't know where this would be, this could be anywhere, but let's just say I've done these in libraries, but it could be at a coffee house or it could be a restaurant. You basically just say, we're going to do a community networking event for the businesses and community leaders, the who's who, right? Anybody who runs a shop, anybody who runs an organization, the elected officials, the people who are running for elected office. You're just going to host a little community meet and greet. I call it a community coffee house. It's free. It's not, you're not paying anything, right? Maybe you get a box of Joe or something like that, or you do it at a restaurant, let them buy their own thing. But what you're doing is it gives you something to say. Now you're going out, and as you're walking with Jael, you're inviting people to the coffee that you're going to do in 2.5 weeks at St. Elmo's or Misha's or whatever those places are, right? Or you're doing it at O'Connell's or at Chadwick's or whatever. But now you're in a situation where you're out inviting. If you guys have ever seen my signature for Kid Biz, my title is Chief Inviter. That's all I do is invite people to things, right? So, and what's great about it, whether people come or don't come, you can't ignore that you got invited. And people tend to like to be invited to things. They may not want to go to things, but they like to be invited to things. And so when you're inviting people, you're positioning yourself as a leader in the community. So you don't have to you don't have to plan some big event. In fact, one of the best things you can do, and this is part of what we do with the Who's Who interview, is identify who are the people in your community who organize the events, right? Look at the calendar, look at the things that people do every year in your community, and just make sure you know who's in charge of that. That is all that person is thinking about right now. All they're thinking about right now is logistics of the event. How do they get the word out about the event? How are they going to get volunteers for the event? How many people are going to be at the event? And one of the best things you can do is be thinking about what they're thinking about. You can show up and say, let me add that to our community calendar. Let me add that to our newsletter that we're sharing, right? It doesn't cost you anything. Hey, Christy, yeah, sorry.
I have to go into a settlement. I want to say thank you again, but before I go, did you record this number one? Number two, I heard you mention something about a link. Is there going to be a separate one for summer, or is this going off the same school business boosters that they add themselves in on that one?
Yes, I recorded it and I will share it out to the community. The link is in the chat, but it's kidbizinc.com/communities.
So
that's where we are doing the communities as opposed to the schools.
Okay, so you can put
sign up, yeah.
for me. Okay, thanks guys.
Yeah, and it's 9:39. We want to keep this tight. If anybody wants to hang out, they're welcome to. If they have any questions, I will send out I sent out to our neighborhood boosters the newsletter video, the short newsletter video. Please watch that. It's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And the reason I want you to watch it is because we do want to start. I would like for everybody to start thinking about using that. Because that makes you now are a media mogul in your community. You now have a newsletter that you can share out by just pressing a button. So it's good to look at. Anybody wants to hang out can hang out. I'll give people 2 minutes to leave though. Kelly, I know we have a 10 o'clock, but I can hang out for a few minutes. Good to meet you.
Thank
Linda.
you so much. I'm
Thank
going to
you,
sign
Giles.
up.
Please reach
So
out to
much
me.
value. Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Carmela.
Thank you so much. I have to
absolutely.
run.
So Carmela, you want me to call you?
If you don't mind, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thanks, everyone. It was nice to see you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you, Dave. Bye, Julie. Patrick, just, echoing that thing with Christy, I think this is a great idea for identifying agents. I mean, we can obviously be happy to introduce you to any of the agents that are coming in the door, but I think, Kelly, do you agree? I mean, I think it's a really good way to reach out to your existing agents is to get them and, you know, say, hey, listen, are you interested in doing some local marketing? They don't have to adopt a neighborhood. They could just sort of listen and hang and share ideas.
Sure. I mean, we're not saying anybody can join our calls, whether they're participating in the site or not, if they just want a venue for changing ideas. And I think the fact that we open this up to a Tuesday timetable as well as Friday, or, you know, maybe we have it twice a week instead of once a week, just to give people the opportunity to pick a different time. It's definitely different than the school business boosters. You know, we're really, look, everybody, especially in the real estate community, is trying to adapt to a market, the likes of which they have not seen in 15 years, you know, 14, 15 years. Okay. They need listings, are what our realtor partners need. They need listings. We need borrowers. Okay. We need communities that are vibrant. So the focus always here is, how do you occur in your community? What are you seen for? What are you known for? So for Patrick, you know, very specifically, you're a connector among realtors in every community. Like, it doesn't even have to be community specific. And I think it's really important, like, you know, when you mentioned on one of the prior calls, some of the services that you provide, even like if it's pre-inspect, you know, pre-purchase inspection, you know, those types of things, I think are really, really valuable in this market, because it's so competitive on the limited inventory that we have. And I think, I just think you bring a value proposition to them, whether they participate in a neighborhood or not. It shows your interest in their success. And I think that's what we are about. I do strongly believe givers get, and, you know, some people are going to really embrace it and run with it. Others are going to pop in and out and not do anything with it. And it's, you know, it's interesting for Fraser and I, because we had so many people initially, you know, every week really join. You know, that narrows as it goes down, because those that are narrowing it are really doing it, you know, like they're in it, they're really doing it. They want the next steps. And it's going to be really interesting, I think, by the end of the summer to see what the net results are of that activity, because of the consistency. Because we always say that 20% of the people do 80% of the work, right? So those 20% are going to show way differently in their sites and their activities, because they are following up. They are consistently following up. I just think it's a huge, like I said with Fraser, I'm like, it's got to bring value. You know, how are we bringing value? And I think, if, especially Patrick, how you bring value is your first mantra. This is how I bring value to you individually. This is how I bring value to you as a business connector.
So that's why I was asking about the social media stuff in the chat, because it's a lot easier organic organization if I have that stuff up on my business page on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and I can just say, because I'm connected to them in these spaces, I'm not face to face unless I'm there usually doing an inspection. We don't get a lot of face to face time. It's maybe 5 minutes before the client shows up.
Right.
So that's where, if all I have to say is, hey, did you see this on my social media? This, you could check this out. That's a lot easier than going through a whole checklist of, here's this community thing, here's how you can market yourself in the community and grow. It's, hey, did you see this? Do you take a look at it? If it's something that you're interested in, I can.
So Patrick, here's how I would say, and we're going to be doing the same thing, which is it's like show don't tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can highlight what our agents are doing, which accomplishes two goals. It A, highlights what our agents are doing and they want to be highlighted, and B, other agents see it And the ones who are interested and like what you're doing say, well, I'd like to do that. Like what Jael did, right? That Jael is a good example. Christy works with Jael. Christy loves what we're doing. Christy invites Jael to call, and Jael likes what she's seeing. Jael wants to do it. Now, the next piece is Christy doesn't have to invite Realtor 2, Realtor 3, Realtor 4. All Christy has to do is highlight what Jael's doing, right? So like you said, whether it's a newsletter or whether it's a new video that the person posted, or whether it's a social media post, like we have literally every day, there could be a different social media post for LinkedIn or Facebook or Nextdoor, based on whatever the agent feels like doing.
Right, but I think, Patrick, what were you
Right.
asking? Like if that
Where do
newsletter
I
was,
find that information to highlight it and put it up,
So it's
and
gonna,
amplify it through the
yeah, so
channels that I have?
it's going to be specific to each neighborhood. So that's what I was saying with regards to like
Okay.
a Jael. So I don't know if you look at our list of agents on the KidBiz community site, the one that I put in there, look in
Mhm.
there and see either somebody that you do know or that you'd like to know. And then you can highlight when they post a newsletter, it'll be on that site. If you're following, I mean, if they're posting it, you can see that they posted it and share it or highlight, or you can grab anybody's newsletter or anybody's page and post it on Facebook or etc.
I guess maybe this is a technical thing. I haven't seen how to do that through the KidBiz site at all. Not something I figured out.
Have you been to KidBiz Communities? The page?
The new one, I think so, but I'm not 100% because I'm pretty sure I was there to sign up.
So there's a,
neighborhoods and stuff.
so I'll send you, Patrick. I don't know that I've been including you on these emails, but I'll send you a link to the to that page with the little video about the sharing station. All of the
Okay.
sharing occurs on what's called the sharing station. So that's social media, that's newsletter, that's results tracking, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
'cause
I've
it
tried
may
to
be
find
something-
just like a KidBid page on Facebook, and I can't. It doesn't even show up for me when I'm looking for it. So
Okay. Hey, Sarita and Michelle, do you guys have questions?
Yes. Oh, since I missed about 10 minutes, can you share how to get to the newsletter as well? And I want to get involved with the community as well, because
Sure. So,
neighborhoods.
Sarita, do you have a specific community that you're interested in?
I'm in the Kingstown area,
Great.
so that would be perfect, I think.
Yeah, so so we have one agent who is adopted several neighborhoods in the Kingstown Franconia area, Rhonda Campbell. But if you go to that website that I just posted, you can find Kingstown, and I can't, I'm be honest with you, I'm still a little confused as to whether I'm considering Kingstown a neighborhood or a community, and I'm getting some feedback on that. So take a look at Kingstown, but also Franconia, because I think maybe Kingstown is part of that. But you can add yourself there onto that link, the who's who. When let's just do it on Franconia or Kingstown, it doesn't really matter. And then to the point about the newsletter, so there's the tool for where the agents are publishing the newsletter. Let's say, as an example, Rhonda, she wants to publish a newsletter in Rose Hill, right, for her Rose Hill community. So she's going to her neighborhood, which is, you can find there in the link, to Rose Hill, and then she clicks share, and there's a button there that says newsletter. When she clicks that, it generates the newsletter for her. It pulls the information from the calendar, it pulls the information from, the web page. She can edit it if she wants. She can make it, she can say, I don't want to include this event. I do want to include this person. I want Patrick to be my business of the week or whatever. She can do all that by just clicking, but she can also just let it ride, right? Because not everybody wants to customize their stuff. They just want it to grow. Everything still is customized in terms of, it says Rose Hill. It has the pictures from Rose Hill. It has the who's who from Rose Hill. It has the pillars from Rose Hill. So Rose Hill is going to look different than Alexandria just by its nature. But some people do like to customize things. And Patrick, if you had here's the cool thing. If Patrick say, or Sarita, if you had if you wanted to do like a workshop, right? Like an introduction to longevity or an introduction to home inspection, you can add that to a calendar. And that now becomes something that everybody in our whole network can select and add to their calendar or newsletter. So it's kind of like syndication a little bit, right? If you do something interesting, like Patrick, Kelly and I did an interview with a home inspector a year ago, and we've included that on our newsletter like 4 times, right? Because it's good value. It's what we call caring beyond the closing, right?
Yeah.
We share this information. So that's a great way for you guys as non-realtors to get connected with businesses or real estate agents, is just to be adding value. Now, you guys can also become, kind of sponsor or leaders in a community, but you can connect with agents regardless of whether you do that. Just make sure you've added yourself to the community that you want to be connected with.
Okay.
So yeah, now, if you wanted to generate a newsletter, right, for yourself, you can 100% do that. It's just that unless you've adopted a neighborhood, the neighborhood booster will show up on that as the person who's adopted the neighborhood. So, and there's no real reason for you guys as non-real. The reason that real estate agents adopt a neighborhood is because we only have one real estate agent per neighborhood. So they get this kind of like exclusivity. There's no reason for y'all to do that, because you guys can be anywhere you want.
Okay, so we could adopt more than one neighborhood.
You don't even, that's the thing. What you can do is show up on every neighborhood.
Sure. Okay.
You don't have to adopt it to show up. If you want to sponsor a community, like for instance, if you wanted to get more visibility, you could see there on the page, there are like sponsors. You can just follow up with me if you're interested in that.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, like the biggest thing would be, if you're interested in real estate agents, is to identify the agents that you want to, you can talk to them too, right? You can reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? How can I help you in this community? It doesn't have to be money. You could just help them reach out. You could go walk the neighborhood too and get the business cards and add them to the who's who, So if agents are part of your business, go introduce yourself to every agent that's sponsored a neighborhood.
The good part is that
let them know you want to be part of their neighborhood. That's a great way to get started.
Well, since I'm in the nutrition health space, everybody's a part of my business. You're tired, if you need more sleep and stuff like that, I'm all about health. So I can help any of the realtors, yourself as well.
So, if let's say that these guys were all, PE teachers, right? Like that's a little bit more, I get, Sarita, everybody's a client.
Yeah.
This is the reason that we as lenders, and then Patrick as a home inspector, the reason that we focus on real estate agents is because real estate agents in theory are going out there and building up, attracting business.
Right.
Good for you is that these agents, if Dave Adams, who is up at the top, if he's focused on trying to get the people of Penderbrook, who are all your clients, right? Like all of them can use your services. But if he's focused on getting more visibility in Penderbrook, and you have cool content, right? Let's say you have a strategy that says, if you're over 50, here's how you can, have more energy. Well, then you're now giving him some value that he can share in the community.
Right.
Like if, in the same way that if you did a workshop, if Kelly and I, our offices are in Oakton, let's say you were doing a talk on supplements, right? It has nothing to do with real estate, but there's no reason in the world that every business in Oakton couldn't feature a flyer about your workshop as part of our Keep Oakton Healthy initiative. And that's the point. Like that's what agents can be thinking about, is how can they use the businesses to get more exposure. So part of this is breaking down those silos. Patrick can help us because Patrick has value to add homeowners.
Sure.
They don't have to be buying or selling for Patrick to talk about here are the 5 systems of a house that you should explore or know about. Same thing with you, the 5 systems of the body. The same thing about a financial advisor, how to make money. The same thing about a person who helps people get into college, how to help your kid get into college. So those are the things that I would love to start seeing in the community calendars and on the newsletters. You know, it could be an
Yeah.
article from you. Literally, I don't know, Kelly, maybe we're at 20 right now. Maybe we have 20 agents who have adopted neighborhoods. They all want to send out a newsletter next week. And they don't
Nice.
have a bunch of stuff competing yet. If Patrick wanted to write an article about things you need to know about a home inspection, or you wanted to write an article that said, you know, how to, you know, again, whatever.
Get
young
healthy
people-
for the summer.
Whatever,
But you know,
keep fit,
it's-
then she could, they could all choose to include that into their newsletter.
Well, that's again where I'm saying I don't understand the technology back and forth. I post articles about things every day on Facebook. So it's literally there. If there's a way to copy it over
Of course.
or whatever.
Yeah, the newsletter thing is as I again, you guys haven't been included in this, but it's the final piece of the puzzle. I literally just shared that with them yesterday. I'm talking about it as if it's, you know, it's Facebook. No, you will, the way to stay connected with it, Patrick, and this is the good thing, is introduce yourself to the agents and let them know, hey, I saw that you've adopted this neighborhood and you're going to start wanting to post things. Just to let you know, I'll be happy to share with you articles, and then just make it easy on them. Once I tell you how to post an article, do it that way, as opposed to say, oh, just find my stuff on Facebook. You know what I mean? Because that way it'll occur for them as you're now their partner. So
we've got to jump because we have our meeting in 3
yeah,
minutes.
we don't have to go anywhere. Y'all have to go. But thanks for coming by, guys. And we'll
Okay.
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Good to see you
All right.
today. Appreciate the
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Let me turn off the recorder.
I saw 11 in the chat. Okay.